For all hard rock, heavy metal bands needing worldwide exposure at affordable prices, Online Metal Promo PR is taking bands from the underground to above ground. Visit their official website at onlinemetalpromo.net. onlinemetalpromo.net.
We are here with Eric Horton from the band Seventrain. And actually, you might know Eric from the band Cage. I mean, it's been a while. I have these 2 albums from Cage that you were on a very long time ago. Probably the most known, worst looking album cover.
I remember when we had that made. Oh my God. That was actually when I had hair.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any. Oops, my computer. I don't think is there pictures of you in here? I haven't listened to this in a while. Yeah, actually, wait a minute. Where are you? Actually, no, you don't have hair in this one.
No?
No, wait, where's my camera? I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, that's when I cut it short. Yeah. It was gone. It was gone.
Yep, it was gone by then. Yeah. That's all right. I feel the pain myself, too. I don't miss it. It's so much easier now just to get up in the morning and go.
Oh, isn't it great? Isn't it great?
And everybody makes fun of like bald people. I'm like, hello, I get ready in like 5 minutes. It takes you 2 hours. But what can you tell us about those old Cage days?
Oh my God. So, that's back. So Sean Peck and I were in a band called Nomad.
Right. Yeah.
We wanted to be Sanctuary meets Fate's Warning. And of course, we always had the Maiden Judas influence back from when first starting to play and all that stuff. And it was at a time when hard rock metal was really at a lull. I mean, even the Alice in Chains and Soundgarden bands were starting to, they've kind of didn't run their course, but they were kind of losing the height of their appeal commercially,
Right.
And so we're here in San Diego where it's very trendy. It's a very trendy music scene. It's almost like a fashion show, to be honest with you. And we're like, forget this, man. We want to be fight. We want to be just metal, and we just wore it proudly. And just like anything else, there's a ton of people that liked the same stuff we liked. We were the only band in the area doing it at the time. So we ended up getting a really good draw. We did shows where, as a local band, we were pulling in 800 to 1,200 people.
Oh wow!
Just ourselves, yeah. And so then I wrote a song called, oh God, it's the first one on that first album. It's called "Shoot to Kill." Is that what it's called?
Where is it? Yes, it is. Yep, Shoot to Kill.
So I wrote "Shoot to Kill" with Sean, and it got picked up by Hard Rock Magazine. They entered it for us as unknown, unsigned artists or something like that. We won. And then we went and played the Dynamo Festival over there in Europe. Massive amounts of it was pretty cool. And then it just kind of things progressed from there. And we did the second album, which to this day we still talk about remixing and mastering because it's worse than Injustice for All with no bass. And so then we did that one. They really went into the European metal thing,
right?
Power metal. There were 16th notes, and everything is just screaming, and everyone's got every song's got the Highway Star screaming intro and all that.
Yes,
stuff,
it does.
Which I like. I don't dislike it, but I was more of I'm an old Marshall Les Paul guy,
right.
And I was kind of not in that direction, so I left that band at that time because it had nothing personal or anything. I didn't care for the face paint and all. It just wasn't me. And so and that's what they want to be. And Sean has always been a massive King Diamond Merciful Fate fan.
Oh yeah.
So that's fine. So they went and did their thing, and I went and did my thing. I'm more of a blues background, hard rock metal guy. My guys I was influenced by are Jakey Lee and John Sykes and and Lynch and that type of player, Gary Moore and Zach, when he came out, was really impressive. And so that's just what I did, and I went through a couple of different bands, some local stuff, played with a lot of national acts that came around, and then we got into started. I actually joined Seventrain back. I can't even remember the year. I actually joined Seventrain, and we did an album with my friend at the time, Joel, who was the drummer for I think they're called 24/7 Spies. They had a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really?
90s.
Oh, yeah. I definitely remember them. Yeah.
Remember them? Yeah. So he did it. He produced it, and it didn't go anywhere. The singer, I can remember what happened to the singer. But about 5 years later, Joel and I hooked up again. Well, why don't you just play drums in the band? Because he's a phenomenal drummer, just phenomenal, And so we did the very first Seventrain album with John Campos, who I still go and play his gigs for him. Like he's got his own thing going on. And then so we did that. That did pretty good. It charted on the college charts, and we got really good reviews, and et cetera, et cetera. John wanted to go and do his. I told him he wants to be Gordon Lightfoot, so he wanted to go do his acoustic thing, And then we got the current singer we have today, which is Eric Coons, which he's definitely a hard rock metal singer. So I was able to. The first album was a lot in the more traditional rock vein, some heavy stuff, but I'm really more essentially a metal guy,
right.
And so we got Eric in the band, and we did a Back on Track, and right when we were putting it out, it was the end of 19, right before COVID. And so you can imagine how that release went. It just went not very well.
Right.
And then Joel decided to leave the project, and we were fine with that. And so we've been on a bit of a hiatus. There was no gigs and stuff like that. So in the meantime, we had written a whole album's worth of stuff, and that's what we were finishing up now. It's just taken forever. We're going to release an EP here in about a week or two.
Oh, okay.
And we got some lyric videos ready to go with that. And then towards the fall, we'll have a full CD release. But we're going to be continuing releasing songs with lyric videos. And then when the whole album's released, then you can buy that or download it. Because I don't even know who buys CDs anymore. Like for me, unless it's Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, I do it because I want to support these bands that I like. I don't. I'll download or I'll stream a whole album.
Yeah. I have an Amazon account, Amazon Music account, and because I can't bring my CDs in the car anymore. I don't have a CD player in there.
That's my point.
Which is
we're actually talking about that right now. Like, do we press a bunch of EP CDs? Like, well, who has a CD player?
Right. Yeah. I know my CD. Actually, I have one down here, but I don't even have them in my computer.
Like, I don't either. So we're probably gonna do these QR codes, and so people can download it. But that's not interesting conversation.
It actually is. There's a lot of people that love physical media, like me. I still buy my CDs. I just got a package of CDs and some records the other day. Because you can go on Amazon Music or iTunes or whatever and look for an album, and it won't be there. Or it'll be there 1 week, and then maybe next week it's gone. Just because somebody lost the rights to it or whatever. So to me, I don't know. I'd rather own something than just have it sitting on my phone in a cloud somewhere up in the sky.
Yeah, I do have giant moving boxes full of CDs in the garage, and they just sit there, and I move them all the time, and I'm like, why do I have these things? But I don't. Because you know what? I think we come from a generation where you collected music,
right?
Collected albums. Yeah, it had art. The whole thing was an experience.
Right
now, it's just not anymore.
Now, I get it because everybody's doing something. Everybody's busy. Everybody wants instant gratuity or whatever. But they just want to hear the song. They don't give a shit about what the album cover looks like or what the liner notes are or the lyrics are. They just want to listen to the music. And I kind of get it. But there's just something about owning the CD and then looking at the pictures of the band and knowing, who's in the band and what the lyrics are. I like all that kind of stuff, and it's a shame that
Well,
it's dying.
I do too. Well, what it is, it's art of appreciation, right?
Right.
And it might have something to do with the fact that, well, the music business is fairly dead, but the labels
Yeah.
don't nurture bands to their second or third album anymore. So I would, like you, I would sit there, and when Live After Death came out, Iron
Mhm.
Maiden, I read I knew exactly what Dave Murray was playing and how many orange juices he put and all that stupid shit, but it was important to me as a fan of the band,
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I don't have the answer. No, I don't think anyone has the answer, but I think we have to accept that is a acquired taste, and maybe one that might come back. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Nobody
To
thought
me,
records were going to come back, but they did. So who knows?
oh, the LPs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sound better. I mean, if you're talking about gear, I just read some guitar player that I really like tried the Kemper stuff and had to go back to an amp because it was just not happening. It's
Really?
just not happening. Yeah. It's just, if you want something that sounds like a Marshall, go buy a fucking Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Exactly.
and that's the bottom line,
Yeah.
But it's, I do like the new digital Pro Tools. I do think that the plugins and stuff are really good. Now, is it as good if I had an A-list producer in a room with all the vintage actual gear? And no, probably not.
Right.
But I had even old guy me who finally I got a wireless,
Mhm.
I had to accept the fact that if I'm listening to a song, I go, is that a modeling guitar? Or is that an amp? I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
Because I've heard some really bad real guitars recorded that were amps. I'm like, well, the modeling's better than that.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
So when you guys record your music, do you get into a studio all together, or do you do it from home? How do you guys record?
I've done it both ways. The first Seventrain was 2-inch. I got the 2-inch in the closet right there.
Oh wow.
And there is preferred. That's what I prefer. And then the second album was a combination of 2-inch, and then we would drop into Pro Tools and do the editing from there, which made the recording easier. You can just track mistakes and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And then this last album that we've done was well, we're going to reamp the guitars to put through our amps, so there's an actual organic amp on there, but it was all done with Amplitude in the box.
Oh wow.
And we did live drums, and then we exported the live drums into Superior Drummer. It analyzed it, said, here's your drums. It's a lot of work. I don't do it. The bass, we call him Spock because he's phenomenal at just doing that stuff, right? So he went in there and he analyzed the MIDI, lined it all up, got the velocities right. So it's a combination of organic drums, the room mics,
Right.
the overheads, and everything is all real drums. But then you put in the sounds of whatever drums that you like in the Superior Drummer, and it's normally, kind of blew me away, a tom is not just a tom that you like, it's a combination of 3 to 6 toms, and you mix them together.
Oh
And you
wow.
get that. Yeah, and it gets really in depth. And so I'm a firm believer that, the concept, the selling point that all these software companies put out is makes your life easier.
Right.
No, it does. It gives me more options and more chances to fuck up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I can't on a local, regional level, and we have some studios in San Diego that won Grammys, right? But I haven't been in one of those studios and have heard better sounds.
Wow.
Right. So
Right.
it's like I could drive a NASCAR, I'll still end up last. So the advent of this stuff, I just had to accept the fact that, yeah, it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
And once you hear that digital thing, though, I'm hearing bands, I'm like, oh, okay, but I don't give a shit. It's all about the song.
Yeah, that's what I kind of just have to realize myself too. It's really just about the music. And if the songs are good, then I guess what difference does it make, really? Because I see
Right.
a lot of the bigger bands now. They're saying, oh, they're going to go back to record like their next album and do it all analog. But really, they're going to throw in Pro Tools anyway, and it's going to be digital. So what's the difference?
Well, if you think about Pro Tools, I mean, it really is an editing tool.
Yeah.
It's an editing tool, and on the 2-inch, the second album, we hit the tape, and the tape went into Pro Tools. And so there was a very well-respected engineer that I was talking to, and he said, once you've already got that analog,
Mm.
it doesn't matter after that, once you got it. And he explained it in a great way, was basically, analog is the orange, right?
Right.
You cut
Right.
orange,
Okay.
you squeeze it, you got the juices. Digital is just a picture of the orange. There's no juice, but it looks the same. It might even, they could put some smell to it, like the scratch
Mm.
and sniff. But it made sense to me. It made sense to me. So as a casual listener, if you got great performances and great songs, it's really, as much as I hate to admit it, it's all about the vocals.
Mhm.
And it doesn't, all that doesn't matter, because the reality of it is if all the guys in the 60s were playing solid state amps and Hendrix was playing solid state amps, all these old dudes would be going, well, it doesn't sound like my old solid state amp. What are those new tube amp bullshit things you're using?
Right.
So
Right.
you have to put in perspective of, is it just what we're used to listening to? Is it actually better? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how confused I am at my age.
No, I totally get it, but like you said, it's just really about the music. So,
Yeah,
I was listening to your album, Back on Track, and all the songs are really good on it, and it sounds good. Some of it actually does remind me a little bit of the Cage albums. I hear some of your guitar playing and stuff reminds me of that a little bit. But yeah, it's
that's
good.
that is yeah. It's I was a massive Sabotage fan. Remember Sabotage?
I love Sabotage. I just got
Chris the Big One?
I bought all the reissues on vinyl.
I I I can't even listen to him anymore. That's how much I used to listen to it. And Chris Oliva to me was just like so phenomenal. Very, you might not agree with this, but I thought he was very Eddie Van Halen-esque in his
Oh.
solo playing.
Mhm.
And I loved just his style, his groove, that he played with.
Yeah.
So that might be the connection you hear a little bit, but I'm a very traditional metal player,
Right. Yep. And that's definitely what I hear in
Yeah,
Seventrain. Yep. I definitely hear the traditional, which I love the traditional stuff too, but I love everything. I love,
yeah,
pretty much all the metal stuff anyway. So, but yeah,
yeah.
it's right up my alley. So, but when did you say the EP was going to be coming out?
It'll be out. We're shooting for a week from this weekend.
Oh, all
So
right. So it's very
yeah,
close.
yeah. And I'll have Ben or whoever get you, a copy of it. And you can just tell everyone how great it is or how shitty I became.
Yeah, in that span of time there, that is a long, kind of a long span of time, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
but it's fun. I mean, there are the metal aspects on that Back on Track. Um, there's some more traditional blues oriented hard rock stuff
mhm.
on there.
Yeah.
To me, it's all about the tension you build.
Mhm.
To be a song. I like the minor stuff, which is the metal and the blues and things like that,
Yeah.
because it builds tension. Then you have that massive release. The kings of it is probably Seven Dust. They got those blossoming giant
Yeah. Yeah.
choruses.
Yeah.
And then
True.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're just kicking you straight in the nuts with the verses and the bridges and stuff. And I think that's what people enjoy.
Yeah, well, that's like I think a lot of the people that listen to, well, the kids nowadays probably call it old dad metal, basically.
Right.
But yeah, it's the new sound. It's the new sound of, I guess, the new sound, like the new old school type sound, I guess, in a way.
It's funny. I'll be in Guitar Center or something like that, and I'll be playing, like I was playing the intro to Number the Beast,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
And there's a cadence to how that is played properly. Now, I'm a weird Iron Maiden fan. I take it personally if someone doesn't play those songs right. So if I'm
Right.
at a Maiden tribute show, I need to neither leave or not drink.
Right. Right.
But these kids are like, oh, is that how it goes? And it kind of I'm like, yeah. And and as good as the YouTube era is for guitar players and learning and doing all that stuff, there was something about actually listening and hearing and feeling and understanding what was going on from an audio perspective, not a visual perspective, or tablature, and I'm the biggest user of tablature. So my point is they really kind of, these kids really appreciate that era of hard rock and metal. I think it gets glorified with the Motley Crues, and they look back on that. But a little bit about me personally, I coach high school football, so I'm around this age group of 15 to 19, and when they find out I play and I play out, I mean, if you manage how many kids play guitar, if you manage how many kids are into AC/DC, and they're into Megadeth and all this stuff like that, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's good to hear that, because sometimes I get a little worried. It's like my son. I have a 6-year-old son, and I turn the radio on, but he's got the rock station on kind of when he goes to bed. And some people say it's crazy because Ozzy came on the other night, and like, how can he sleep to Ozzy? But I'm trying to get into his head now.
Yeah, that's funny, but yeah, back to the Seventrain stuff. It's a good band. The other guitar player, Dave Odegaard, is just a phenomenal player. Admittedly, he's got a lot of technique that I don't have, and we kind of blend really nicely together. I'm more of that gut, Sykes, Zach type of guy. He's very Lynchy, Jeff Beckish, very fluid. The bass player, Greg's a phenomenal bass player. He's a great singer. The singer has got a very strong rock metal voice. Reminds me of a bit of John Bush, which I was always a fan of John Bush.
Oh yeah. That's probably my favorite era of Anthrax.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I think so.
I love that Stomp 442 album. No one else, I think, but me, like that. I think it's crushing.
It's not that bad. It was a little shock when I first heard it, but I really got into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was like, this sounds like I'm in the room.
Well, because when my first Anthrax album was Sound of White Noise, and I always loved the Joey Belladonna stuff, but I didn't really get into them until John Bush came in that band. And then when they did Stomp 442, they were turning into that like Pantera type sound, and I'm like, it kind of doesn't work. But then I really, after listening to it, a bunch of times, I really got into it. I do love it. It is a good album.
Yeah.
But John Bush is like one of my. Oh yeah, that's an awesome song. But John Bush is one of my favorite vocalists.
Yeah, he's super good. So that's what I liked about jamming with Coons is he has that raw emotional push. I mean, you're hearing it on the tracks. He's got a good range, and I love like when I was in Cage with Sean's got that range and stuff like that, and I love that. I was a big Queensryche fan and all that, but to me, I'm more into that, just kind of no frills type of rock, and so it's a really good combination. And Calvin, our drummers, he's super good. I mean, there's nothing he can't play, and that's what's nice about this particular group of guys is that anything we want to do, we can do. Not that we're fucking Dream Theater or something insane like that, but there's no idea or concept or vision that we can't at least go down the rabbit hole and find if we like, and have someone's lack of talent or desire to be good enough curb that. And I think everyone that's been in a band has experienced that, where there's something like, oh well, shit, we can't get there because you're always sleep, right? This band is, honestly, I think we all at a point feel like, well, you're trying to keep up a little bit, which keeps us on our toes, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Very cool. And before we started this, you were talking about you do a tribute band. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, like I was saying, so it's Headbangers Brawl. It's a tribute to Headbangers Brawl, and like I was saying, we want to play out a lot, and the tribute acts are getting a lot of the attention right now at all the venues here in Southern California, and some of them are really good, and so we started dabbling around just for fun, playing like Believer by Ozzy, and we did Master Puppets, and we did like I said, Stand Up and Shout and Wasted Years, and all these songs were like, and then the bass player goes, why don't we do a tribute to Headbangers Ball called Headbangers Brawl? Because we can actually play, not blowing smoke arrest, but we can actually play this shit, right?
Right.
And we're like, oh, that'd be cool. And so for a while there, outside of Seventrain, we were like trying to find that singer. We're trying to find a guy that can do Dickinson, Dio, Tate, Scorpions. And like, okay, not one of those guys can do all those guys, but we're trying to find do all that, right? And so I finally like dawned, I was like, hey, we got a pretty good singer in Seventrain. Let's just let him do it, see if he wants to do it, and just let him sing it as he would sing it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And so we started doing that. We're playing out, and it caught on real fast. And the goal was, we're not doing Living After Midnight. We're not doing the run into the ground songs. We're going to do the ones that everyone likes, but they weren't the big hits. So like I said, like we did 2 Minutes to Midnight. Everyone knows it, but it wasn't Flight of Icarus. Well, we do Flight of Icarus too. But not that we don't do the Trooper. And we do Stand Up and Shout, and we do Eyes of a Stranger by Queensryche, and we do Miracle Man. We do Miracle Man by Ozzy. So well known, not fried, not breaking the law, is kind of our thing. So it was actually kind of difficult to do that, because as a fan, are we getting too in the weeds? Were the listeners not gonna, we're gonna pull out something too B-side,
Right.
It's a bit of a difficult process, but it's like, we're gonna do Mob Rules by Sabbath.
Okay, cool.
We do Heaven and Hell, and it's what I was telling you is that the crowd, once you play something that people like and you do it well, not you don't have to do it great, but you do it respectable, where you're doing it justice. They really all of a sudden were like, oh, you guys are an original band too? Like, yeah. And so we would bring our CD and share all our swag to shows, and it totally made them more open to listening to what we do, because there's a respect. I think it's just this respect thing. I don't know 100%, but I'm assuming it's a respect thing, that they think, oh, because you can play X, well, then your originals must be good as, White Snake, right? Because you can play the song. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, we can do that. And so that's why the Headbangers Brawl, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, covers are cool. I personally, I like to do originals myself, because I don't like to have to learn somebody's drums, because you always hear somebody say, oh, you didn't play that thing right, or whatever, or even if somebody doing a guitar, but they're fun to do once in a while.
It's a challenge. I had written so long. I was in cover bands right out of high school, and for years after that doing covers. And then about at the same time, when Sean Peck and I were in Nomad together, I started writing originals at a younger age. And then when I got to about early 20s, 23, that was my thing. Because the whole reason I even play guitar, I'm a massive Who fan. Like, Pete Townsend is my guy. Like, that's the reason I even picked up the guitar. I wanted to play Bargain and everything off Who's Next, And so songwriting was always dear to me. That, like, the emotion that I picked up off of Pete Townsend's songwriting was, I wanted to recreate that tension and that angst and that fire and that fight. Roger Daltrey's voice was just like man voice, who's just going to punch the fuck out of you, and
right.
Lane Staley reminded me of the modern Roger Daltrey when I first heard Alice in Chains, that big voice, and so writing is to me is number one. Doing that forever and a day, I realized that it limited my vocabulary as a guitar player. So so I had written so many songs. I've probably written 10, 12 albums in my life, right?
Wow.
And songs that we don't even record. So when you get to a certain point, I'm like, man, I've kind of said everything. And then but I'm feeling this way, or I want to create something that gives me that emotion. And so then you do kind of, I think, have to step back and go, I need to study all these other different guys and what they're doing. and it expands your musical vocabulary. So as an artist, you have more to say and you have more vocabulary to express yourself.
Yeah,
and trust me,
makes sense.
I was that guy, like, I just want to create, because honestly, it was the attitude I would get from a lot of cover players. Like, I'm a pro. I go, why? Because you made $80 on Saturday night and you blew it on beer, you fucking idiot. You know, that's not a pro. You're a weekend warrior. You know, that's just you're net zero.
Right. Yeah.
And I do that, and it's fun. It's fine, you know. But to me, a pro is a guy that is creative, and he's got a business going that people appreciate his art, and he's able to make a living at it. That's a pro. That's a pro.
Yeah.
You know. So, but anyways, for the cover thing, it is a tool. It is, and it's made me a lot better. You know, because I actually had to expand outside the hard rock metal thing, because I kind of just by ear kind of was already doing all the stuff that players that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had to go out and like, oh, what is Steve Lukather playing? And then it's like, oh my God. Maybe I'll just go back to writing songs.
Yeah. What's the toughest song you've had to learn?
Hard rock and metal. We do Don't Tell Me You Love Me by Night Ranger.
I don't even know that song.
Are you shut the front door?
Maybe if I hear it, I'll recognize it, but I don't recognize the name now.
I'm not singing it for you, I'll tell you that much. But it was Night Ranger. It was Jeff Watson and Brad Gillis. Brad Gillis played an Ozzy on the
okay. Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you look it up on the internet. It's just it's just like this quintessential early 80s guitar in your face, harmony solos, hardcore. And I knew something was up, because as soon as we said, oh, hey, let's do Don't Tell Me You Love Me, because it's a popular song, by the way.
I'm sure I've heard it. I just can't think of it. Yeah.
Dave, the other show goes, oh, I'll do the first lead. I'm like, oh, you bastard. Because Jeff Watson would do the 4-finger tapping.
Right.
Like Eddie did the one. Jeff was doing like all 8 fingers at once. And
oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. But no, we don't, I naturally was so influenced by Glenn Tipton and Dave Murray and all those guys. It was pretty natural for me to pick up their licks, because I already knew it by ear, so I was very comfortable with it. But the technical stuff, it was the Night Ranger. Miracle Man wasn't too hard. Modern Day Cowboy was pretty fun. The intro, Modern Day Cowboy by Tesla.
No, I'm not a Tesla fan. No. Not a Night Ranger fan, not a Tesla fan.
Yeah. So that stuff wasn't too bad, but no, I don't. Like right now, there's some stuff I'm trying to learn that's not even rock or metal oriented. That is, it's so beyond that. It's really exciting when I finally get it down, like Steely Dan stuff. I'm trying to do some stuff like that, and it is really challenging, because it's just not natural to me.
Right.
I like to pound a beer, crank the Marshall up, and you just go pentatonic,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a challenge, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's all that counts. As long as you like doing it, and that's
it,
and you're having fun, and people enjoy it too, watching it. So it's great.
Yeah. Oddly, the Randy Rhoads stuff comes fairly not easy. I would never say that, but it comes fairly natural for me. It's pretty good. Diver Madman and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's an awesome guitarist. We actually just did a podcast about him not too long ago, and I don't know if did you watch the documentary on him?
I did, and it was good. I don't really get into the rock star stuff, but I found it really unfortunate that we never got to see what he really was as a player. Because to me, I got the impression the rock stuff was fun. He loved playing in bands, and who doesn't want to be an Ozzy, and his personality was coming out in Ozzy. And then, if I remember the documentary right, it was like he was kind of over it. He kind of wanted to just go back and teach and do his own stuff. So I think the real tragedy in that is we never got to really hear who he truly was in his own right.
Yeah. His life cut so short. It's insane, and the the stuff that he did do in that short amount of time, and what he became was like, it's amazing, you know. I actually just got the two Quiet Riot albums that he was on, because they just re-released those. So
Is that good?
I haven't listened to it yet. I heard it's okay, but it's not like the Quiet Riot that, you know, would come to be with mental health or whatever. Mental health.
Carlos Cavazo.
Yeah, I don't even like Quiet Riot, but I just bought it because I wanted to hear Randy Rhoads stuff.
So who are your favorite bands? Who do you like?
My favorite band is Halloween.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Actually, I think I'm wearing my Halloween hoodie right here. Yeah,
they're good.
I love Ghosts. I'm a huge Ghost fan.
Oh, you like them?
Yeah, yeah. And no, really? Why? Because of the vocals?
Yeah.
See,
it's like a preschool singer in a hard rock band.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it, though. He's trying to lead the children to Satan. So it's, you know, he's making it inviting to come into.
Isn't that what whiskey's for?
But yeah, it took me a while to get into them too. But
I got buddies that just love them. You know, I saw Rammstein a couple of years ago. Oh fuck, they were good.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. I can't get into them. I don't know what it is. And I like industrial type stuff, but yeah, the live thing, I know with the Fire, but you know, it doesn't impress me. Everybody could do Fire. I just saw Merciful Fate. I mean, you can't top that. And actually,
Merciful Fate. Yeah.
And King Diamond's another favorite of mine too. But you know, I like all the like European type stuff.
Yeah, so
stuff
you
don't like.
you could have lasted in Cage when I had to leave.
I could have, if I played guitar, but I don't.
So I used to get on Sean's nerves because he's a big King Diamond fan. And I go, King Diamond is like the Pearl Jam of heavy metal. He's like, what do you mean? I go, it's the greatest songs until that dude starts singing.
I know it is an acquired taste, but I don't know. One day it just grew on me, and I was like, all right, I like it now.
Oh no, I love bands that drive people. Like I love Lamb of God, and I'm not even the monster voice thing, but for some reason that band, I don't know what it is. I just fucking love them.
I never got into them either. But I listen to so many different things. I'm all over the place. I listen to like Mr. Bungle 1 minute, then I'm listening to Slayer, then I'm listening to like David Bowie, and then Weezer. You know, so go figure.
Oh, I love Weezer, and I love David Bowie. Yeah. I mean, to me, Dave. People go, "Who's a rock star?" I'm like, David Bowie's a rock star.
Yeah, he definitely was. Yeah.
There's guys that to me transcend genres and things like that are just above it all. And David Bowie is definitely one of those guys, you know, so good. Plus, I think when I was a little kid, my parents blasted Ziggy Stardust into my brain.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that could have done it. But yeah, that stuff was, especially the old stuff, was like really good. And then I also got into Elvis Costello for some reason, which you know, that's completely different. But he's good. My wife hates him though. He comes on, she's like, turn the shit off.
Really?
She hates his voice so much, and I get it because his voice is weird.
I could see that. It's like I can't stand Neil Young. I mean, I just like I can't fucking handle him. You know.
Yeah.
It's like that guy singing karaoke, just which would shut up. But you have to respect him. You know, you have to respect him, and that's like with Ghost. To me, if they're on the radio, I don't turn them off, but I'm not. It just didn't speak to me.
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
Yeah, but I was out hiking and Lamb of God came on about 12 years ago on my AirPods, you know, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I am going to break something.
That's when you know
guitar players are really good, you know.
That's when you know it's good, you know, when something gives you that kind of energy to want to, you know, do something.
Yeah,
like that.
Throw a family in the pond or something.
Yeah. Then you know that ends up being a good band. All right, Eric. Well, I had a lot of fun talking to you. Where can people go to find Seventrain?
Well, we're on Facebook, which is Seventrain Band or Seventrain on Facebook. Our webpage is seventrain.net. You can grab us there. Instagram, Seventrain Band. Everything's on all the, you know, the Apple Music and the Spotify's and all of our lyric videos and stuff are on YouTube. You can see it all there. So it's just the normal places.
No place, all right. So everybody just look up Seventrain. I noticed because I use Amazon, like I mentioned before, but I didn't see the first album. Is that out anywhere, or what's with the first album? I only saw the one, the Back on
Back
Track.
on Track.
Yeah.
Oh, we pulled it. Yeah, we pulled
Okay.
it because it's kind of funny. The first singer John, I'm like, can you do these? I love these songs. Can you do them? I hear the difference between the first and second. It's kind of the same band, but it's you're kind of seeing both sides of my playing in those two albums.
Yeah.
And so we pulled it. You know, they talk about maybe we should re-record some of the stuff with Eric, but Eric is his own individual artist and he's really good at what he does. So I don't want to do that, you know? So, but yeah, no, John Campos, I really wish he would actually kind of take a little more ownership of that first album and run with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? You know, it's part of the band's history. So it's, you know,
yeah.
I was like when because another band I used to like well they're not around anymore, but they had an album out and I always wanted it on CD. They finally had it. They were going through like their garage or something and they found a bunch of extras. So they sold a couple on their Facebook. But they never had it on the downloaded, you know, on Spotify or whatever to hear it. So I never got to hear it until I got the CD. So I always like when bands, you know, finally release their early stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. I agree as well. What band was this?
Diamond.
Dommin?
Dommin.
Oh, is it a local band where you're from?
Actually, no, I think they're from California.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. They were on Metal Blade for a little while. One album was on Metal Blade. They're really good. You might actually like them because they're like a hard rockish and gothic type band. Very good band.
Were they as big as Night Ranger?
No. They're better than Night Ranger though. Better songs.
That's funny. You go listen to "Don't Tell Me You Love Me," and
I will, and I'll probably remember. You know what? Let's do it right now. What's it called?
Don't Tell Me You Love Me.
Don't Tell Me You Love Me.
And I had the fortunate experience of learning the second solo.
Let's see if I recognize this. I'm gonna get kicked off of YouTube now playing this song. I've never heard this in my life.
Shut the front door.
Nope. Never heard this ever.
No.
Don't recognize it.
All right. Corey Taylor Slipknot said it was one of the greatest songs of the 80s.
Let me see the chorus. Is that the chorus?
If it says "Don't Tell Me You Love Me," yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. No, never heard that ever in my life.
Well, whatever. Go listen to the second lead and you'll feel my pain.
I feel pain now listening to that. Oh,
that's good. All right, brother.
Eric, thank you very much for coming on the show, and really appreciate it. And good luck with the EP coming out next week, I believe, and then the album. When is the actual album going to be released? Do you know?
We're shooting for September.
September. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a name for the album yet, or no?
No. That's the hardest thing. Naming bands and naming albums. It's harder than naming your kids.
Yeah. My band is putting out an album. It's coming out sometime this year, and we're, everybody's like, what are we going to name it? And we actually got into a fight about the name of the album. So we're just like, forget it. It's just name what the band, Severed Angel.
Just name anything, because there's like, who would name their band Tool, right? But then when you identify this band with that name, all of a sudden it's cool.
Right.
So
yeah. But it's not worth breaking up a band over an album title. All right, Eric. Have a good night, and thank you again for coming on Rat Salad Review.
Hi, buddy.
All right, everybody, go to ratsaladreview.com, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Looking for some new podcasts to listen to? Well, look no further than the Ratsaw Review Network. Ratsaw Review is taking over the podcast world with plenty of shows to choose from within their network of entertaining programming, including the flagship show Ratsaw Review with Wayne Noon, Greg Noggle, and Lou Mavs, as well as occasional co-hosts Manny Mejias and James Lilquist. We also have the official Ratsaw Review spin-offs, such as Album vs. Album, Screams from the Grave, where we discuss beloved yet forgotten hard rock and metal albums of the past, and a King Diamond podcast called This Broadcast Belongs to Them. We've also got Old Man Metal's Musings, The Right Opinion with Harrison Bergeron, Beyond Bushido, a podcast dedicated to pro wrestling and MMA with James Lilquist and Eric Adams, no relation to the guy from Manowar or the mayor of New York City. The Vieira Vault with Ralph Vieira. Schmack-a-magob! Schmack-a-magob to you too, Ralph. The Timo Tolkki podcast featuring Stradivarius and Avalon founding member Timo Tolkki. The BS Sessions with Mark and Jerry. Just the Cheese Please, a podcast dedicated to cheesy films of the 1980s with Tara J. and Adam. The Friday Night Party with the great Harry Barnett and Evie. And the Music is Life podcast with Lou Mavs. The Ratsaw Review Network is your go-to one-stop shop for the best podcasts out there today. Go to ratsawreview.com for more info and to find out where you can find, follow, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and all streaming platforms. The Ratsaw Review Network. We're taking over.